Ever stood on a bridge and suddenly felt your knees go weak? Not because it's unstable, just from looking down? Now imagine crossing a bridge so terrifying, so high up, so see-through. You're not even sure if it's real or just a prank on your brain. Well, buckle up, or better yet, don't look down, because today we're diving into the most terrifying bridges on Earth that you seriously wouldn't want to cross, unless you're into that whole flirting with death kind of vibe. And hey, if you think crossing a bridge is just about getting from A to B, wait till you see these. Let's kick things off with a bridge that literally pretends to break under your feet. Okay, first off, glass bridges are already a no from me, dog. But the East Taiheng Glasswalk in Hubei, China, that's on another level of nope. Imagine walking calmly across a bridge when suddenly, crack, you hear glass shatter beneath your feet. You freeze, your soul leaves your body, and you're already writing your will in your head. Sounds like something from a nightmare, right? Well, that's exactly what this bridge wants you to feel. This twisted walkway is built with fake cracking effects. Yeah, motion sensors detect when you step, then boom. Visuals and sound effects make it look and sound like the glass is breaking. That's not a prank. That's psychological warfare. Now, to be fair, it's not actually cracking. It's built to be solid. But get this. It's suspended nearly 4,000 feet above sea level. That's higher than the Burj Khalifa. Yep, if your legs weren't jelly before, they are now. Needless to say, this bridge caused a media frenzy. After some poor souls legit panicked mid-crossing, officials had to issue an apology and later closed the attraction, along with 30 other similarly terrifying glass bridges in the province. Lesson learned: maybe don't combine acrophobia with special effects. Imagine standing on a bridge where one wrong step could send you plummeting into a frozen abyss. Yeah, welcome to the Titlis Cliff Walk in Switzerland. You're nearly 10,000 feet up in the freaking sky, surrounded by howling winds and blinding snowstorms. Sounds cozy, right? This icy beast stretches across a glacier in the Swiss Alps and is Europe's highest suspension bridge. If the altitude doesn't knock your socks off, the wind chill definitely will. Now you're probably wondering, how the heck did they even build something like this way up there? Well, it wasn't exactly a walk in the park. Every single part had to be airlifted, airlifted, by helicopters or dragged up on cables. Imagine being one of the builders, clutching icy railings, trying to screw in bolts with numb fingers. No thanks. But wait, here's the kicker. Despite the whiteout conditions, icy terrain, and bone-rattling cold, this thing is solid. It's made of steel, built to sway with the wind rather than fight it. And it's got graded flooring so the snow doesn't pile up and turn it into a skating rink. Still, with visibility dropping to near zero during storms, crossing it feels less like sightseeing and more like a dare. But maybe you're thinking, okay, that's wild. But at least it's built with proper engineering. Fair point. Let me introduce you to the Carrick Reed Rope Bridge in Northern Ireland. A swinging rope bridge that looks like it was built by a pirate who flunked woodshop. Spanning just 66 feet between rocky cliffs over the wild Atlantic below, it doesn't sound like much. But the real horror kicks in when the wind starts howling and the whole thing sways. Like, violently. One step, two steps, and suddenly you're gripping those ropes like your life depends on it, because, well, it kinda does. Now here's the funny part. Fishermen originally built this thing to get to a small island and check on salmon nets. Yeah, salmon. Nowadays, it's mostly tourists testing their nerves and trying not to drop their phones while pretending they're not completely freaking out. Spoiler alert, they are. Even better, once you get to the island, there's nothing there, just you, your fear, and the howling wind. Congrats, you just crossed a death trap to nowhere. Alright, brace yourself. China's back at it again with another glass terror walk. This time, we're heading to Zhangjiajie Glass Bridge in Hunan Province. Picture this, a thrill-seeker's runway, stretching a whopping 1,410 feet long and 984 feet high, suspended over a lush canyon that looks like something straight out of Avatar. Yep, this bridge was actually inspired by the floating mountains in the movie. But unlike Pandora, this place has gravity, and your stomach will absolutely remind you of that when you look down through the glass floor. Here's the wild bit. Before it opened to the public, officials smashed it with sledgehammers and even drove a car over it to prove how safe it was. That's either next-level confidence or straight-up madness, but hey, it worked. Sort of. People still lose it halfway across, legs jellyfying. Some even drop to the floor and crawl the rest of the way. And who could blame them? It's one thing to see the view, another to feel like you're floating above it on a sheet of ice. Okay, buckle up. We're hopping onto a bridge that's technically meant for trains, but people walk it anyway. Yeah. Welcome to the Pilatus Railway Trestle Bridge in Switzerland. It's narrow, it's steep, and it looks like it was designed during someone's fever dream. Now this bridge is part of the steepest cogwheel railway in the world. A mind-blowing 48% gradient. That's not a typo. It's basically a vertical climb. Trains inch along like they're defying gravity. And if you're on board, don't drop anything, seriously. You'll never see it again. Here's the worst part. The bridge curves along the side of a mountain with almost no shoulder room. It clings to the rock like it's holding on for dear life. One small derailment and bye. Gone. Forever. But don't worry, the Swiss engineers are brilliant. Probably. Still, for most of us, just looking at this thing causes a mild panic attack. Imagine hearing the creak of the steel as you slowly crawl across it, feeling every gust of wind shake the train. That's not sightseeing. That's a slow-motion heart test. Now let's switch continents and take you to a bridge so sketchy it looks like it was built during a dare. I'm talking about the Kakum Canopy Walkway in Ghana. Nestled high in the treetops of the Kakum National Park, this beauty hangs between giant trees, 130 feet above the forest floor, with rope sides and wooden planks. That's it. No solid railings, no safety net, just ropes, boards, and vibes. Good luck. When the wind picks up, the entire thing sways. Hard. Your whole body shifts with it like you're in some weird jungle roller coaster with no seatbelts. And the boards? Let's just say they've seen better days. Every creak sounds like your final moment. Here's the kicker. It's insanely popular. People line up to cross it. You'll see tourists laughing nervously, gripping the ropes like they're in an Indiana Jones movie, while trying not to look down at the jungle floor yawning beneath them. Okay, now let's talk about one of the most controversial bridges out there. Capilano Suspension Bridge in British Columbia, Canada. It's a 450-foot-long beast hanging 230 feet above a river. Sounds scenic, right? Sure. Until the bridge starts swinging like a hammock in a hurricane. Built originally in the 1800s, it's had some history. Like the people falling off kind of history. But don't worry, it's been rebuilt and reinforced. Still, nothing prepares you for the moment you step on it and feel it move under your feet. And then someone behind you decides to bounce. Why do people do that? There's always that one guy. The worst part? You're mid-bridge, surrounded by hundreds of tourists, and now you're stuck. No turning back. Just 450 feet of motion sickness and regret. At least the views are pretty while you panic. Alright, we're leaving steel and concrete behind and heading deep into the jungles of Meghalaya, India, home to the living root bridges. Yes, you heard that right. These bridges are made from actual living tree roots. Local villagers train the roots of rubber fig trees to grow across rivers. It takes decades to build, sometimes over 100 years. And yet somehow they're strong enough to hold dozens of people at once. Nature 1, engineering 0. But here's the deal. They're alive, which means they're constantly growing, shifting, and changing. Slippery when wet? That's putting it mildly. You don't walk across, you tiptoe. Every step is like walking across a wet noodle strung over a cliff. Also, did I mention no guardrails? One slip, and you're sliding into a jungle creek that may or may not have venomous snakes. Beautiful? Yes. Safe? Not even a little. Next up, we have a bridge that disappears. Seriously. Welcome to the Passerelle des Trois Pays, also known as the Bridge of Three Countries. It connects Germany, France, and Switzerland. Sounds diplomatic, right? Well, not when it vanishes during floods. The bridge is beautiful and modern, curving gracefully over the Rhine River, but it was built super low to maintain a sleek design. So when the river rises during heavy rains, poof, the whole base is underwater. That means the world's most peaceful border crossing becomes a water park ride. Locals love it. Engineers? Probably sweating bullets every rainy season. If you're on the bridge when the waters rise, well, hope you brought floaties. Now let's talk about isolation. Ever heard of the Carrick-a-Reed rope bridge in Northern Ireland? This thing links the mainland to a tiny rocky island used by fishermen. But here's the twist. Only one person can cross at a time. It's made of rope and wooden planks, stretches 66 feet long, and hangs almost 100 feet above crashing waves. There's nothing but ocean below you, and that rope sways like it's got somewhere better to be. And the best part? If the wind picks up too much, you're stuck. On the island. No boat, no alternate path. Just seagulls, cliffs, and existential dread. Tourists still cross it daily. Why? Because it looks cool in selfies. Gotta love that priorities list. We've crossed rope, steel, roots, and bridges that vanish into floods. But the final section? That's where the nightmare fuel really kicks in. One bridge is made entirely of chains, one's over a lava field, and the last one, well, it shouldn't even exist. We're going big for the finale, folks. First up, the Zhangjiajie Glass Bridge in China. It's a bridge entirely made of glass, over a 1,000-foot drop. Let that sink in. You're walking on a transparent floor with absolutely nothing between you and the bottomless abyss. If that doesn't make your knees wobble, I don't know what will. Not only is this glass bridge terrifying for the height factor, but the glass is designed to crack under pressure, just to remind you how fragile life really is. And for the grand finale, the Chinese government even set up a stunt where they had the bridge crack in front of visitors. I mean, what's more relaxing than glass breaking underfoot as you dangle in midair? Next, we're talking about Iwaiye Valley's Vine Bridge in Japan. But this one's different. It's made from vines, which sounds quaint, but here's the kicker. It spans across a massive gorge with jagged rocks and lava fields below. Yes, lava fields. This thing isn't just a cute, rustic bridge. If you fall here, it's not a 20-foot drop to some water below. Oh no. You're looking at rocks, jagged cliffs, and the possibility of lava burns if you're unlucky. The Vine Bridge was built hundreds of years ago by local villagers as a method of crossing rugged terrain. While it may have worked back in the day, in modern times, it's basically an obstacle course with a little too much risk. Finally, let's wrap things up with the Storseisundet Bridge in Norway. At first glance, this looks like any other coastal bridge, right? Not quite. This bridge has a serpentine design that makes it look like it's simply falling into the sea. Built with such an optical illusion, it appears to be an undulating roller coaster track going straight into the water. But here's the kicker. While it's entirely safe, every driver crossing feels like they're driving off into the abyss. The Storseisundet Bridge is iconic for its jaw-dropping visuals and terrifying bends. It's more than a bridge. It's a mind-bending trick on your senses. And there you have it, folks. The scariest bridges from around the world. Some will make your heart race, others will have you questioning your life choices, and a few will have you laughing nervously just to keep your cool. But no matter how daring you are, you've got to admit, crossing these bridges, that's not for the faint of heart. So, would you dare to cross them? Or is it safer to stay on solid ground? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Stay tuned for more heart-pounding adventures in engineering. And remember, keep your eyes on the bridge, but never forget to look down.